Wait. Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40! Can't wait! Let's go! What's popping, y'all? I don't know what Jory is doing, but we are here back with another episode of the Cheap Seats podcast. I missed y'all 2 straight weeks without me. I'm so happy to be back. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak, and to my right, I got the Prince of Production for Sports Empire Network, my man, the King, Kyle Edwards. How you feeling, Kyle?
I'm good. Can't complain. Another good week at some topics. Patriots didn't lose this week, so it's all good.
I heard they did lose to the bye week 27.
They probably did. They got so many issues. I wouldn't doubt it.
Another topic, though, like Bill Belichick, does he start next year with the Patriots? As a topic, I think the answer is no.
I mean, I think he does, but a lot of fans will be turned off. I will say that.
Well, we do have welcome back. She's like on the show every week. So stop pretending she's a guest. She's not a guest. She's part of the Cheap Seats podcast. I got Jory from Jory Sports Stories, a.k.a. the Laundromat. How you feeling tonight, Jory?
I'm doing all right. How about you guys?
You're busting chops.
Good.
We got a ton of topics to get into tonight. We got questions. We got debate. We're going to talk about this, and that. How y'all want to start tonight, Kyle? Kyle, let us know the direction that we're heading. Prince of Production, provide us some guidance.
I would say, since the breaking news did just happen, we could go with Jory's question first.
Jory, I love it. Let's get into it.
Like with the whole Kareem Jackson thing going on, what are you guys' thoughts on these old school heavy hitters type and they keep getting these stupid flags? Like, I just wanted to know your thoughts. I'm personally irritated with it, but I'll go last. Kyle, you can go first.
Yeah, Kyle.
Okay. Look, I mean, to some fans, they don't want to see that part of football. Like, to me, I still love a good big hit. As long as, everybody's kind of doing their thing, because a lot of these hits, it's like the guy's lowering the shoulder, but it's like, oh, it's getting too close to the neck area. Some of those I don't like, but the guys who lead with the helmet, targeting helmets, that part I am glad that the league is kind of trying to get rid of. But with Kareem Jackson, because we kind of talked about it before we came on here, like he wasn't flagged, which means during the course of the game, it wasn't seen as that big of a deal. To now come around after and give him a suspension for it seems kind of counterproductive, because at least in between the lines of that game, it was legal according to the refs and everybody who was there. But it's not like they reassessed the play after the fact and now we're saying it's wrong. That part I don't like. A lot of these leagues are getting into that. We're looking at it after the fact and then trying to, make it right, which I'm like, the game's over with. So just drop it. Like, you wanted to send him a little message and tell him, like, be careful next time. It was a little bit toting the line. That's fine. But suspending him, I don't know about that.
Suspending him for 4 games for that hit, I would sue the NFL if I was him. I would sue I think it was a borderline penalty. I wouldn't have been upset if they called it as a penalty. He definitely led with the crown of his helmet. It was a big hit. I'm so sick of this. You know what's funny? If he didn't cause the fumble and they got up and ran the next play, he wouldn't have been suspended.
Probably.
I'm telling you, the replay review, and they broke it down, and they were like, well, he led with the crown of his helmet and becoming on Sunday Night Football. If that was a 4-15 game, I don't think he gets suspended. And I think the league is out of their friggin' mind to suspend a guy for 4 games for a helmet to chest hit. He didn't even go helmet to helmet. Yes, he led with the crown of his helmet, hit Josh Jacobs in the chest. It was not a legal hit by the letter of the law.
Right.
And they said because of this, they're giving him a 4-game suspension because of previous behaviors and previous actions. And I kind of wish that we disagreed on this because I cannot tell you how soft I think the NFL is for this 4-game suspension. I would sue them. They're going to cost this man hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They already have with the fines and everything.
It's crazy to me. It's absolutely asinine, ass a 10, ass an 11, ass a 12. There's no way he should be suspended for 4 games. I'm baffled that they actually made that decision. Baffled. Go ahead, Jory. Tell us what you're feeling.
Because the way the rules are changing, it's just a whole load of horse crap. Because now, even a few weeks ago, you got Josh Jacobs getting fined for lowering his shoulder. He's a running back. What the hell are they supposed to do? What? It's ridiculous. And it's like, I feel like they're making these rules, they're putting these penalties in place to protect the cash, the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, and the money line, if we're being completely honest, which we'll go back into that later. But you're taking away what football really is. Football is physical. It's not professional pillow damn fighting. It's football. So, of course, you're going to get these hard-ass hits. Like, come on. And then, of course, a couple of them were questionable. But to hit him again with another 4-game suspension for something he didn't even get flagged for is stupid, to say the least. And it's like, you're taking away from defenses and these defensive players, because what can they do? Can they pinch him and make him say ow without getting a damn penalty? Because it makes no sense. And I grew up watching people hit, not figure out a way to hit. No, just smack them. It's stupid.
I love Chris's comment. I'd like to answer that. So Chris says, how many times does he need to be tossed from games and suspended before he changes the way he hits people?
His rookie year was in 2010. They were still hitting people like that legally then.
Well, hold on. Let me answer this real quick. I don't disagree with what Chris is saying. He definitely is not hitting people the correct way.
True.
So, like, leading with the crown of your helmet is not the correct way to hit people. How many times was he flagged for unnecessary roughness that entire game? 0. So, how many times did he hit people in the game? Let's just say, let's see how many tackles he had. I'm sure tackles along with hits. I'm gonna just look it up for Chris because I love Chris. So I'm gonna look it up exactly. So I feel like he knows how to hit people, right? I feel like that decision probably wasn't the greatest decision in the world. But if we're being completely honest with ourselves, let's see. Kareem Jackson had 9 tackles, 6 solo. He wasn't flagged for any of them. I don't know. And I think both times he got suspended for games, Chris, I don't even think the hits were that bad. I don't think the hit on Musgrave was that bad. I didn't think that deserved the suspension. I thought that was a borderline penalty, if we're being honest. I don't think both
the hit. If he should have got suspended, like if it was any hit that he should have got suspended, it should have been the Washington one.
This season alone, like I'll just be clear, I think that Kareem Jackson has, if he would have led helmet to helmet and was helmet to helmet contact on that hit, I'd understand it a little bit more. He went helmet to chest. Yes, he dropped the crown of his helmet, 100%. I just think 4-game suspension and that much is insanity. My point is he knows the NFL is on him, so he needs to adjust a little. I agree with you, but don't you think he adjusted with the other 8 tackles that were in that football game? And that helmet to chest hit that he had on Dobbs wasn't helmet to helmet. So is that not adjusting to where he's landing the helmet? I'm just giving my opinion.
Oh, that's true. But could the DeMar Hamlin thing now play into that? Because Hamlin was hit in the chest which caused what happened to him on the field.
No, what happened to him is he got hit at the wrong time.
Well, right,
That's what caused that.
But now the league has to now have that in the back of their mind that
call flag football at this point. He didn't even get hit helmet to chest. Hamlin didn't even get hit helmet to chest. He got hit shoulder to chest. That's the part that drives me nuts, right?
Yeah.
You can change all the rules you want to. Football is still physical and people are still going to get hurt. If you're going to call a flag, like if you're going to make a suspension, at least put it on something that they got flagged for. Don't turn around.
Well, officials, I don't agree with that because I think the officials can miss a call, which they apparently did on that. I think they missed the call. I don't think it was an egregious penalty, and I was okay with them not calling it. But I think they missed the call. It's obviously by the letter of the law, it's a penalty. And they are clearly making a point out of them. I just feel like there's a lot of guys that hit people hard.
Yeah.
Well, let's take it a step further, right? Let's think about all the quarterbacks that are out this year. Was Joe Burrow knocked out due to a dirty hit?
No.
Okay. Deshaun Watson.
No. He deserved it, though. I'm going to leave that alone.
Damn, bro. Damn. Was Daniel Jones knocked out due to a dirty hit?
No.
Aaron Rodgers? These quarterbacks are getting hurt because they're playing football. They're not getting hurt because of helmet to chest hits. Josh Dobbs played the rest of that football game. If those hits are illegal, where's Aaron Donald's suspension for trying to get players in practice? That's funny, swinging his helmet. I get it.
Well, I think that, part of this conversation, maybe this is where Chris might have been going with it, was like, I remember I played football. They taught us how to tackle. It was keep your head up, shoulder into like the midsection. And at a certain point, that no longer was kind of the tackle in the NFL. Everybody was trying to knock people out to cause fumbles and everything. That's kind of become the new norm. Now, along with that, we have like the guy in Buffalo who was like special teams, made the hit, lowered his head a little bit. He had to be stretchered off. I mean, it seems like he's fine and everything. But I don't know if the league can necessarily change how these players hit now because they're so used to it. Like Jory said, Kareem Jackson has been in the league for over 10 years. To now try to change the way that he plays, sorry, it's probably not going to happen. Your best bet might be like the college level, and then hopefully those guys come into the league and they play a little differently. But for Kareem Jackson, it's just who he is at this point. So either they're going to keep finding him, suspending him, throwing him out of games, or
they're going to get him with the 1
spot
year.
in the league.
They're going to get him with that Montez Perfect.
I think Danny Dempsey said it perfectly. This is all about paying for healthcare after these guys are done playing.
That's
it's
also
never about safety, it's just money. I agree with him.
That's a big point. Yeah.
I don't agree with what you just said, Kyle. I don't mind having a debate with you. I think that what you said, this is the way Kareem Jackson is. Yes, that might be the way he is, but he has to adjust. Chris is right about that point. He has to adjust.
Well, it's on him if he wants to adjust. I guess I should have said it that way.
I think he has to adjust. I agree with that. And I think that this is a heavy penalty to try to make him adjust. Mm-hmm. However, I don't think this is the way to make – I don't think this was the warranted penalty that they should have, like, stuck their foot in the ground and was like, this is 4-game suspension. I feel like they're just waiting to suspend this kid 4 games. I felt like the hit on Musgrave wasn't that bad. I really do. I watched that hit like 100 times. I don't think it was dirty. He was trying to break the ball up. Do you disagree?
I
don't. Sure, I know you don't. You want to see barbarians hitting each other on the field.
Yeah.
Jordan wants to.
Go to our next topic. Should women be able to play NFL football? I'm kidding.
I could do it.
No, you couldn't. Stop it. Stop it. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. See, listen, that's funny. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers made the league soft. I will say this. I feel like referees should start getting fined for terrible roughing the passer penalties that they call when players are barely touched. I'll never forget the roughing the passer penalty that Brady got versus Atlanta like 2 years ago. That might have been the worst penalty I've ever seen in my entire life. When he got tackled, like barely with the football.
And that same day, there was one on Jeffrey Simmons, and I'm like, what? What? He didn't even touch him. Threw a flag, and we were deep in our territory. I'm like, are you serious?
Danny brings up another point. Crazy how ACL injuries started happening after protecting concussions. There are a lot more ACL injuries from players going low because they're taught to do that now.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the lasting effects of concussions kind of threw that in that direction. I mean, look, it's going to be tough. The speed of the game is much different than it used to be. So, if like Jalen Waddle's going across the middle and I'm playing safety, I have how long to really think about where I'm going to hit him to dislodge the ball. So no matter how the league wants these guys, the area they want them to hit, things are going to happen because the safety can't predict how the wide receiver is going to change their body. Like if he decides to go down a little earlier, but I've already begun my process to tackle, who knows what I'm going to hit at that point. So that part you could say is on the referees to kind of be like smart about the flags they throw. But then again, when it starts becoming judgment calls like that, then you got to worry about how does this ref call that play opposed to this one and all that kind of stuff. Then it gets too confusing. So it's going to be something that happens every year. We understand that. For the league's point of view from it, they always worry about how the youth look at it and parents and the participation in football, if that ever becomes a thing, which I feel like that's probably way down the line. But I don't know, just a lot of factors when it comes to football that some of it they can't really do anything about, but they're trying. And they're going to keep having these kind of situations like this where a guy's going to get a flag and we're going to come on here and be like, what was the point of that? He's just playing football.
Danny said, just like Jory said, it's football. You know what you signed up for. I think Gene said the same thing. I did. That's okay. We agree on this topic, which is hopefully not too much. I don't want to agree so much. I'm hoping we don't agree on this one because I need to bring this up. I feel like this is a perfect, secondary question to what we just talked about. And it's gambling in sports. Now, do you think gambling or the legalization of gambling in sports was a good move? Now follow me real quick. It's brought in millions of dollars. FanDuel, DraftKings, ESPN Bet, Barstool, Penn Gaming. Do you think gambling in sport? Look, I got a parlay in for tonight. I'm going to lie to you. I have a same game parlay in for the Eagles. It's fun. It brings in a lot of people watching the football game. Do you think it was good for the sport or bad for the sport? I'll start with Jory.
Man, no. I think, and this is my personal opinion, that it's done more harm than good. Because it's like when you have all these jankified, when you're trying to protect the money line, these rule changes and all of this other stuff, and it ultimately affects how you play the game. I personally don't like that crap. Even though it has, I do admit the benefit. But the way that it's changing how games are played, how we might have questions about how refs throw flags and stuff like that or whatnot. I would rather my sports be without all of the extra hoopla. That's just me personally. When it comes to gambling, like the fans in sports, they're already on 10 anyway. Like we all know this. And then you put in a few extra dollars. And then that 10, the fans will be coming on 100 because now their whole life savings is at risk. Personally, it's not my cup of tea.
Jory, I'm not asking for your moral compass on it. It's
done more harm.
It's brought millions of dollars in.
Billions. No, this has done more harm for the game for me, in my personal opinion.
Okay. Because your moral compass on whether people gamble all their money away
I'm not speaking on that. Okay. I'm just saying that those are my reasons. I'm like, I hate gambling in sports. It just takes the fun out of sports for me.
Shorty, I promise I'm gonna get to you. I got you. Kyle, what you think?
I mean, I'm fine with it because it was kind of a rite of passage. Like people were doing it. Why not? The leagues might as well just kind of allow it. I think what Jordan was saying about how people wondering about the officiating and everything, that was happening before betting. If I'm watching the game and Paul Pierce gets called for a charge late in the game, I could be like, I would already sit there and be like, what's that guy looking at? Same thing happens now, just that there's money tied to it. I get it, but like I said, I'm fine with it. It's brought. I mean, Danny did say like it brought new fans in. It's kind of changed the way that we watch sports, especially with like fantasy football being tied into it and everything. It was just like a necessary evil, I guess, if you want to put it that way with gambling. But I just think it was the right thing to do for these leagues. I felt like them trying to act like it didn't exist for the first few years was kind of crazy to me because we all knew it was out there. You had shows on ESPN like 2 talking about daily lines and everything. It was everywhere you turned. You go to Yahoo Sports, every matchup has a line on it. Why turn a blind eye? The best you can do is, encourage people like they do. Don't bet too much and everything like that. But outside of that, I'm fine with it. Just, yeah.
It just ruins it for me.
Well,
right, it's not for everybody, but
you're gonna get the degenerate here. I'm a degenerate gambler that loves to bet on sports. I bet on it all the time. And you're gonna get that answer from me, right? So Danny Dempsey said, good thing is it brought more fans in. He also said they can't talk sports, but they are now. Anthony Price said, as long as Hurts don't mess up my rushing parlay by taking a knee. Danny says can't beat him and join him.
I mean, maybe once I start making money off of a parlay, I might change my stance.
Follow me real quick, because Jory, I'm about to take your side. Did anybody remember gambling with a bookie? Do you remember what a bookie was? Illegal gambling, cash under the table with a bookie?
No.
That's what gambling was before there were like real gambling on sports. You can gamble in Vegas. You can stand it. It got legalized in Atlantic City, and then it federally got legalized. I want you to look up a game for me. If you're in the chat, look it up for me. If not, it's okay. November 16, 2008, the Steelers beat the Chargers 11-10. It is the most fixed game in NFL history, in my personal opinion. I didn't have money on the game. I did not have money on the game. However, the Steelers were like 2.5-point favorites in the game, and they were a much better team. And the Steelers were playing the Chargers in Pittsburgh. It was right off like one of their Super Bowl wins. I think they won in 2007 or right around that area. And they were playing the Chargers in Pittsburgh. All the money was on Pittsburgh in that football game. The Steelers were losing that game 10-8. They go down the field. They kick a field goal to make it 11-10. It's a gambler's. It is 100% for like a bookie. It is heaven, right? Because if you were betting on the Steelers, you were betting on a -2.5 because you didn't want to lay the extra juice to bet on a money line. It was none of these money line parlays. It was you were betting the spread. And if you were betting on the Chargers, you were betting on the money line. Why am I going to lay the extra juice? If they're going to cover 2.5, they're probably going to win the football game, right? It was like 80% of the money was on Pittsburgh. There was like 4 seconds left, and the Chargers decided to run pitchy woo-woo. Y'all know exactly what I mean. Passed the ball over the middle, pitched it back. Troy Polamalu jumped in front of one of the pitches, ran it into the end zone, touchdown, and the Steelers covered the spread. The referees blew all the whistles. They said, nope, illegal forward pass. Penalties declined. The game ends 11-10 Steelers. Nobody reviewed it because the Steelers still won the football game. That was fixed. Watch the video. I promise you. There's not, the refs just freaked out because they knew they had to get it at a certain spot, so they made something up. Watch the video. It's crazy. Let me take you forward. That game was so fixed and so obvious it was fixed because there was very few sports betting. So when they fixed the game, it was pretty obvious that it happened. And there wasn't much of it happening. It would just happen in rare spots of games being fixed. I am probably the biggest NFL fan you guys both know. I watch all the games, twice probably. I'm telling you right now, I've questioned my career path as an announcer or as an analyst. I've questioned my love for the game of football this year because I constantly watch fixed football games. Let me give you a few examples. The Cleveland Browns were playing the Indianapolis Colts just 4 weeks ago. They called 3 bogus flags, gave Cleveland all the opportunities in the world to win the game but not cover. I was texting my buddy. I said, they're going to score a touchdown. They're going to miss the 2-point conversion. He goes, bro, how do you know that? I'm like, you watch. I'm telling you, I'm watching these officials. I'm watching what's going to happen. I told him what's going to happen, why it happened. Take it a step further. That same week, the Pittsburgh Steelers were playing the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams were out of timeouts. They ran a QB sneak, or the Steelers ran a QB sneak, didn't get it. Kenny Pickett was short. The referees moved the ball, made him pass the line of scrimmage, gave him the first down, and guess what? With 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, they couldn't challenge it. They had no challenges left because they had no timeouts left. Screwed the Rams in that game. I'm not saying the Rams would have came back and won that football game, but like it's more and more evident what happens in pro football week after week after week. There are games that are fixed in the NFL. And if I'm watching scripted entertainment, I'll watch the WWE because there's better storylines. I'm telling you, games are fixed. If you don't believe it, you're not watching with your eyes. I make money off of it weekly because I see where the money's at. And I just bet on Vegas. Oh, 80% of money's on the Chargers. I'll take the Packers. Oh, 80% of the money's on the Commanders. I'll take the Giants. Whatever. It's not. I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, but it's so obvious. Just bet the opposite of where the money is every week, and you'll win money.
Like the one game I know this year that it kind of stuck out with me because I don't know if it was the Rams 49ers. It has something to do with the damn Rams because they kicked a pointless ass field goal, and then you asked Sean McVay about it. It was to beat the spread. Really? You weren't going to win the game, so you kick a stupid field goal to beat the spread.
You're talking about the 49ers Rams game.
Like,
Sean McVay got questioned about that after the game. Like, why did you kick a field goal with no time left?
And he flat out said to beat the spread.
He didn't say to
something
beat the spread.
like that.
But that was another one. A lot of money was on San Fran. They were the best team in football. No one predicted the Rams to be anything.
To cover or something like that. What?
All the money on the Miami Dolphins at 13.5 in the Raiders game. How many times the Miami Dolphins piss away opportunities to score a touchdown? They couldn't score versus the Raiders. They could put up 70 versus the Broncos. Couldn't score versus the Raiders. Come on,
the
man.
Reinvigorated Raiders.
I said they were reinvigorated. That was me. I
agree with
the Raiders plus 13.5. We talked about
that. I
that.
had that too. I'm not even into betting like that. I picked that as well. I mean, look, I don't know. Maybe because I'm kind of like Jory here. I'm not big into betting, so like when I'm watching sports and everything like that, the line and everything isn't really on my mind. And
bro, look at Philadelphia, Miami.
But I'm just
Watch
saying, like,
that
it goes
football
back to like when I was watching sports when I was younger, and it was like I would question stuff, but sports betting wasn't a thing then, because when you're dealing with the human element, that's always going to be something you can question.
Kyle, I've been betting on sports since before it was legal. I'm telling you, I've watched it. Now, it used to be questionable calls, one game in out of 16, 17 in a week. Maybe one game every 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's questionable calls almost every game. There's billions of dollars swinging by play to play. By the way, last night, you know what the spread was in the Denver Broncos versus Minnesota Vikings game? It's Broncos minus 2.5. A hot Vikings team that Josh Dobbs, the greatest storyline. The Broncos won the game, but didn't cover. Everybody that bet by the way, 2.5 is the biggest suckers bet. Just FYI. Bet the money line. Stay away from it. You see 2.5, you know Vegas is trying to make you do something. What's the spread of the Eagles game tonight? Chiefs minus 2.5. I'll tell you right now, if the Chiefs win that football game by 1 or 2 points, they win it by 15, it is what it is. The Eagles win the football game, it is what it is. Chiefs win that football game by 1 or 2 points, just pay attention. Holding, offense, number 63, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down. I'm telling you, it happens all the time. If you don't think that there's fixed games in sports, you are out of your mind. NBA players are now openly talking about it on podcasts, which I think is amazing. Did y'all hear this? What Elton Brand told Evan Turner when they were about to play Boston in Game 7? You got to win the game by 15. And Evan Turner's like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, nobody wants to see Miami versus Philadelphia next round. They want to see LeBron versus the Celtics. You got to win the game by 15 to win it by 1. It's real, guys. And the more betting that you see, the more involved that they are, the uglier it's going to get. The NFL has a real problem. Oh, by the way, Damien said, I trust betting with a friend or a family than trusting a bet app or a casino. Damien, go to Bet Openly. My man Gino from Bet Openly. I don't even get paid to say this. He used to pay me to say this. My man Gino from Bet Openly has peer-to-peer betting. You can bet your friend with no juice. It's the way to go. You should check that out. Seriously. But the truth is, there's definitely fixed games in sports. I'm sorry. If I was the NFL or NBA, or I would fight against gambling in sports. It's the biggest nightmare. And I love gambling. I'll go back to an underground bookie and do it illegally. I love it. Remember when you used to have to give your buddy like $500 when he's going to Vegas? Go throw these bets in for me. It was the only place that was legal to bet on.
Yeah.
I love it, but I think it's bad for the sport. Get it out of there. If you love sports, you should hate DraftKings. You should hate FanDuel. You should hate these companies that are absolutely taking advantage of fixed spreads and making tons of money. BetMGM. Hate them. They're cheating you. They're stealing your money. Yeah, me, the idiot right here, still does it.
Places like Vegas where there's casinos in the airport. Like people on the slots waiting for a flight.
See, Danny did it perfectly. The NFL is listed as an entertainment business. So if they ever get caught fixing games, they're allowed to legally script games. That's the truth. They're listed as an entertainment business. Did you know that? Did y'all know that?
I did know that.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, Danny says the best of FanDuel parlays they give you, they always lose.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, check out this one. This seems like it's very reasonable. A.J. Brown touchdown. It's going to happen. They don't not hit a touchdown. Whatever the FanDuel boost is, don't touch it. Don't touch it. People on spot 3 a.m. in the airport. I was one of them. Sorry, man. I apologize, brother. It's the truth, man. Some of these people ruin their lives over gambling, bro. I gamble money I could lose, right? When you make $100,000 a year, if you bet $100, $200 a week on sports, win a couple, lose a couple, it's fine.
Let me borrow $1.
I post some of my.
I mean that like you are what you would say as a responsible gambler. You understand what you need to like function, and you don't gamble that. You know, the poor person who's like, oh, I got my paycheck, let me cash it in and head straight to the casino. I mean, that's the one that probably is not going to have a great day. And, you know, it's obviously the worst case scenario. But, I mean, that part of it is where you feel like gambling is obviously like the worst thing. But I just feel like even if you went back to the bookies and everything, I mean, it could still infiltrate into the game. It'd be probably on a less noticeable level.
Yes, I'm good. I would rather a less noticeable level and a lower noticeable level to where someone's got to pay someone a ton of money offshore, off the books to hide it than the way it looks right now. It's unwatchable at times, Kyle. I've actually enjoyed college football so much more this year than I have in the NFL. Because it's a lot tougher to rig games when there's 700 of them going on across the country. If you want to have a fun day betting on football, find the least bet on football games and bet on those.
That means stay away from the Cowboys, the Eagles.
Yep, that's
all
correct.
of them.
Do you know
they will hurt somebody?
Jory, this is not a joke, right? The Philadelphia Eagles have had, I do this every week. We do it on sideline to sideline. I look at the cheapest ticket to get in the house, right? So like this week, the Eagles are playing the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. So it's like a double whammy, right? But like if you look at the Eagles game and how much like money the cheapest ticket is, tickets are as low as $273 tonight. Now, granted, it's in Kansas City, but the tickets to all Eagles games across the country are insane. No matter where they play, whether they play, it's always the highest ticket in the house. Whether it's in Philly or not in Philly. No matter who they play. They could be playing the damn Chargers. It's expensive as hell to get in the stadium because the Eagles are playing the football game. It's super expensive to go to Eagles games. That's why a lot of times this year, and I'll call it like it is, that Miami Dolphins game was terrible. I'm not saying the Eagles wouldn't have won the football game if it wasn't for the refs' help, but the refs are going to make sure the Eagles won that football game versus Miami. And I'm an Eagles fan. I was rooting for the fucking Eagles. And I'm telling you, the game was rigged. How do you miss some of those calls? How do you miss James Bradbury? How do you miss James Bradbury grabbing that dude's face mask? It's right in front of you.
You can't tell me nobody saw that.
Or David Long getting clotheslined when he was going up the middle. It's so obvious. Now, the Eagles have been on the wrong side of a lot of fixed games. They're probably going to be on the wrong side of one tonight. It happens. And I can't complain about it because they got their calls versus Miami. It's the truth, guys. Sorry. Gambling is bad for sports.
Period.
I bet your meal and beer is higher than your tickets. No, not in Philadelphia. Our tickets $300. All right, let's move on to the next topic. What do you want to go to next, Kyle? Kyle is producing the show. He's the production manager.
I mean, hey, if we want to kind of went with Kareem Jackson, went to sports betting, we could talk about Draymond Green. Him and his, and we brought up WWE. He went all chokehold on Rudy Gobert.
You can't tell me he wasn't waiting for years to do that.
I mean, his actions seemed like he'd been waiting for the perfect moment to do it. And the fact that Rudy Gobert got anywhere near one of his teammates, he was like, this is my opportunity.
Did you
Like,
see
he
his face
flew
when he
in.
was choking him out?
I mean, he clenched his teeth like that dude stole from him.
Jory, I'm not even more mad at Draymond than I am at Cat.
Yes, that's a great point. Because Patrick Beverly brought that up.
Bro, you could tell he wanted no parts of breaking that up. He don't know what Patrick Beverly said. Don't nobody like Rudy Gobert.
No. Everybody got a
that
problem
was
with Rudy
evident
Gobert.
by
He's
that.
soft as hell.
So what's the question though, Kyle? Let me get to the question. The crux of the potato.
Well, I mean, the question would be, he got his 5-game suspension because I've been hearing like on NBA radio, a lot of people don't think it was enough because they feel like just 5 games is just continuing to enable Draymond Green's antics. You know, you look at the times he stomped on Sabonis, or he kicked Steven Adams, or even what he was doing in the finals with like Jaylen Brown and all that kind of stuff. I guess people are
What
just
you want to know about
tired
the final stuff is Celtics fans, bro. Nobody else knew about the Jaylen Brown stuff.
I mean, they let Bob, but in that series, like they let Draymond Green, you know, yell in the ref's face, didn't tee him up or anything to kind of control his behavior. So I guess the easy question would be, is 5 games enough based on kind of Draymond Green's normalcy and acting kind of wild on the court? Should the league have done more to try to get him to stop doing some of this stuff?
Can I say an unpopular opinion?
Sure.
I don't believe in repeat offenders. I don't believe in it. I think if you do a crime, there should be a set amount of time that you. Let me ask you a question real quick, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the judicial system, it happens the same way, right? Like if I get caught selling drugs the first time, I get like 30 days. If I get caught selling drugs the second time, I get 3 months. The third time, I get a year. It's repeat offender syndrome, right? I don't believe in it. I believe if you want people to stop doing the crime, make it a harsher penalty. I'm gonna ask you guys a fun question that I asked when my dad asked me when I was younger. If you needed money, would you borrow money from the bank if you were 90% sure you could pay it back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to make it that 100% regardless. So
Kyle?
there's that.
Hold on, watch this. Kyle, 90%.
I mean, yeah, probably.
You need the money, right?
Yeah.
All right. Would you borrow money from the mob if you were 90% sure you could pay it back?
No.
See, why, Jory? Why that change?
Because I'm not trying to sleep with no fish. So, no, there's that. I can't swim.
They'll
So,
kill
there's
you.
that.
Because they'll kill you. So the difference is when the penalty is stronger for you not doing the crime, you didn't do it. How about this, ready? If the NBA had a mandatory 25-game suspension for anybody to put their hands on another player, how many fights you think you'd see in the NBA?
Close to none.
Kyle?
You see a few.
I think Draymond's crazy enough to test
He
that
is
a time
drunk.
or two.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying.
trying
It's
to
definitely true.
I don't believe in repeat offenders, man. I don't. I think
I'm actually there with you. Yeah.
I think if you do a crime, you should do the time. And I don't think it should change if you did it multiple times. If you think people are still doing the crime multiple times, make the penalties harsher for everybody. That's the whole thing with Kareem Jackson. Same thing. Let me ask you a question, guys. If Kyle Hamilton had that same hit, do you think he would have got suspended?
No.
I don't even think he would get fined. I don't.
Yeah, I'm probably going to say at most he'd probably get a little fine. But yeah, suspension, not a chance.
And that's my point, guys. If you don't want people to lower their helmet and hit people, if you don't want people to put their hands on someone, the NBA doesn't care if you put your hand. It's great entertainment. You know the most watched basketball game of all time is the Malice at the Palace?
That was fun.
I didn't mean live. People went back and watched that game. It's one of the most streamed NBA videos of all time. What comedian said? Daniel Tosh said, if you could guarantee me a fight would break out every game, I'd have season tickets.
Why you think I'm about to start watching hockey?
The point I'm trying to make is the NBA knows that altercations and roughing people up and shoving. Bro, I love watching Draymond Green play basketball.
Oh, yeah.
I love watching it. Yo, all right, so when the Celtics play, who are you most invested, Kyle? What team, when they play them, are you most invested?
The Warriors or Bucks.
Why? Because they're rivals.
Yeah.
Right? When the Titans play who, Jory, are you most invested?
Nobody, because they suck ass right
now. No. When they're good. Ravens,
Jaguars, and the
Colts, Ravens, Jaguars, Colts. When the Eagles play the Cowboys, I'm most invested. We like to hate beat teams.
Mm-hmm.
Draymond is great for sports entertainment. He's great for it. His podcast is great. I love how passionate he is, how much he wants to win. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. If I was in the NBA, I'd be closer to Draymond Green than any player in the NBA.
I would too.
I'm a little unhinged myself, so yeah.
I would be so passionate that I got to get on the basketball court. I'd want to win so bad. I would do whatever to win. So, like, do I think the suspension should have been longer? No. And no one likes Rudy Gobert. Who cares? I liked it. Give him no games. You got to give him a couple of games. My point being is, if they wanted it outlawed, they can have it outlawed.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts, Jory?
No, it shouldn't have been 10 games. Or like some people are like, it should have been 10 games. No. Because if you look at the situation and how he got suspended, all Rudy Gobert had to do was grab his own guy. Don't grab somebody else.
Klay Thompson. He
grab
grabbed
your
Klay.
own guy. That's how this whole thing started. And then Draymond probably, I don't know if he saw the whole thing start or he just saw Rudy grabbing Klay.
He just saw Rudy. That's all he needed.
Just saw Rudy and just went in for that. I don't blame him. And that's the level of unhinged behavior that I love in the NBA. I love that type of behavior. Unhinged.
Give it to me, unhinged. Kyle, what's your thought?
Like,
you think it should have been more?
No, I think it's fine.
I mean, I was okay with it. I felt like I knew he was going to get like a couple of games. 5 seemed like probably the most they were going to give him. I do know it was like Antonio Daniels on NBA radio. He said it should have been more. I was a little surprised by hearing a former player think it should have been more, especially the suspension came down from Joe Dumars, who was part of the Bad Boy Pistons. So obviously he just felt like maybe 5 games is what he probably needed to go with. I'm sure in his mind, he probably have been like, give him a little fine and it will be good. Especially this kind of stuff that he saw on the court when he played. Bill Laimbeer, clothesline, and Larry Bird and stuff like that. I mean, it seemed like par for him, but yeah, but I do agree. I mean, yes, Draymond doesn't play on my team and everything, but I do like guys like that, or Westbrook, guys who just kind of do whatever on the court. I love players like that. When they're out there, they give like 100%. Sure, they cross the line a few times, but that's actually a good point.
He wouldn't have got the Joker like that because he's too short for that. So there's that.
I feel like Joker's about it though. Joker might have thrown
the swing. Joker had grabbed Rudy Gobert. What do you got in 5 games? And I think the answer is no.
No, probably not.
Would Karl Anthony Towns have tried anything if Joker did that to Rudy?
No, Karl Anthony Towns ain't gonna do nothing regardless. He just as soft as French fry, if not even softer.
Draymond may be a dirty player on the court, but at least he's not waving a gun in front of IG or a teenager like Ja, or beating on his baby mama or kids like Bridges.
I did hear some Memphis people trying to say, how come Ja got 25 and Draymond only got 5? And I was like,
I know they're not trying to justify what Ja's doing, what Ja did.
2 different things.
Exactly.
That's 2 different things.
Yo, Ja Morant had the gun situation. And then they were like, you're suspended. Don't ever do that again.
And he did it again.
Went in there and did it again.
That's just stupidity. That
Like,
story
that's
about
just
Games was being stupid, and
You
I'm
know, it
fine
was a
with
fake gun. It was a water pistol. Like, bro, I don't care
whatever. They told you not to do it, and you did it again.
What an idiot.
that. Exactly.
Look, I swear to you, I need to stop liking young players until they show me more. Because the last few, I've got myself in trouble. I liked Kyler Murray when he came in the league, Ja Morant. Like, I've really chosen some bad players to like coming into the league, making a lot of bad decisions. I need to start letting people show me who they are before I like them. I think the Draymond Green suspension was fair.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mo said it perfectly. To be clear, I take Dre on my team all day. Dubs can have D'Lo and Prince. I would take
Oh,
Draymond
yeah.
Green all day.
I'll take
Well,
them.
you're not allowed to make trades for the Lakers.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
No, remember
Lakers fans have like the worst, like outside of Mo, Lakers fans have the worst like idea of what value is.
I would say Jory's closer to Mo than
I'm close to
certain
say I'm a
certain
close second.
like
I'm
Freddie's
not
like,
afraid.
oh, we'll trade D'Lo for Giannis and
Yeah,
I am not
Lopez,
afraid.
and it's like,
I can't
who's
take
doing
that.
that?
I can't take that. Like, why would the other team?
Right.
Yeah, Caruso and Levine for we're gonna give up D'Lo and a bag of Doritos. Like, that's not
And a
happening.
2045 first round pick. It's like, who cares
I'm
about?
realistic about my Lakers.
Yes, Jory's closer to Mo. I agree with that.
I'll give her that. What's the next topic?
Oh, Jordan Poole. I've been waiting to get on him.
Yes.
I love it. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jory.
Like, do you think the Warriors made a mistake trading Jordan Poole, or do you think Washington made a mistake trading for him? Because he's just doing whatever the hell he want to do on the court.
I mean, I think that the Warriors trading Jordan Poole was one of the greatest things they could ever do. See, I'm of the inclination that so this kind of leads into my topic too, and it can kind of be a long 2-for-1 type thing. But we'll talk about Jordan Poole first. I'll tell you, in my opinion, I would rather have a good player that's a great teammate than a great player that's a bad teammate.
Even a great player.
I'm giving all right, so we can lower it then, right?
Good.
I'd rather have an okay player that's a good teammate than a good player that's a terrible teammate. We can lower the standards.
Yeah.
I don't care how talented Jordan Poole is. When he is not listening, obviously, into huddles, when he is doing whatever he wants, not playing team basketball, he's hurting the basketball team. And in Golden State, that shit didn't fly. That's not how we conduct business around these parts of town. Think about the New England Patriots when they were winning all those Super Bowls. The first sign that a player was an issue, they got rid of him. They didn't wait for the second sign.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Randy Moss.
Antonio Brown.
No, Randy Moss is like, they broke records together. Went 17-0, went to the Super Bowl.
As soon as he got left, he got gone.
Straight cash, homie. Cool, bro. You can go straight cash your ass back to Minnesota.
Yeah.
I ain't got time for it.
But same thing happened with Antonio Brown. Remember, he got picked up by the Patriots. He did that stupid video that he's finally out of Oakland. He lasted one game and then started his stuff, and they were like, we're good.
So with Jordan Poole, I think that the Warriors getting rid of him and dumping that cap off was incredible. It was very smart of them.
Yes.
And I think the Washington Wizards are finding out right now that it wasn't the scenery in Golden State that was the problem. It was the pool party that was going on.
Yeah, and I heard about why he got punched. I'm like, I see why Draymond. I see why he did it. Because I'm like, you don't do anything on the court worthwhile other than chuck up stupid shots and hope that they go in. When he's hot, he's hot. When he's not, he's not.
I can't pretend that he didn't have 2 great years in Golden State.
He did, but then after that, it
wasn't chucking up bad shots. he started smelling himself a little bit too
that was
much.
the
Yeah.
Started thinking he was better than what he was. You're not Steph Curry.
And once he got to that point, it was a wrap.
And now
An
he's in
absolute wrap.
Washington acting like he's too good to be around a losing team, which the Washington opportunity should have been for him to show he could be a number one. Even if it doesn't mean you stay in Washington the rest of your career, teams would then want you. Teams aren't going to want you right now when you can't pay attention to what your coach is trying to tell you. And you're taking the same bad shots, that he was doing against the Lakers last year. He's doing that like 100 times worse now in Washington because he feels like, oh, if we lose, who cares? Because Washington's not trying to compete, which they're not, which I'm like, I'm fine with them making the trade because in Washington's mind, it's like, if it was the scenery, then at least we hit on a guy and we can move forward. But if he's going to do this, we're going to lose. We got a high draft pick. Maybe we find somebody who takes him on after, because a lot of dumb teams in the league, they can find somebody who'll take him and be like, oh, we'll fix him. So I don't think Washington's necessarily in a bad situation right now. But this whole
Dylan Brooks.
Jordan. Oh, Dylan Brooks all day. Absolutely.
Give me Dylan Brooks, and I love to pick on Dylan Brooks. I love it. I love to antagonize Dylan Brooks, but give me Dylan Brooks over Poole.
Yeah. Because the worst thing you can say about Dylan Brooks is maybe he runs his mouth a little too much. I'm fine with that. Jordan Poole, you're questioning his basketball IQ. That's a problem.
Like
give me Brooks.
Like with the Wizards, it's Jordan Poole doing whatever he want to. Kyle Kuzma being a supermodel and doing whatever the hell he want to. Just vibes. Just shoot the ball with vibes. No sense of whatever it is. The vibes are immaculate.
Pat Bev let off on them too. They asked him about the Washington Wizards. He's like, that's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why you need veteran leadership. He's like, veteran will turn around and tell you, yo, shut up. You can't be doing that. Let's lock in. They don't have that.
Leadership should tell Kyle Kuzma not to wear half the stuff he wear. But,
I'll tell you right now,
here and there.
The Washington organization is a mess, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ever seen the campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis?
Yes.
You got to watch it. It's really funny. But I'm going to D.C. and I'm bringing my brooms because it's a mess. It's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who turns that franchise around. They can't hit on anything. Who's that rookie they signed 2 years ago? A shooter from Gonzaga. They used the 10th or 11th pick on him. He starts Kispert. That kid stinks. Bro, I'm not an NBA scout, and I can tell you this kid stinks. I watched him play at Gonzaga. He stinks. They used the 10th pick on this man. Kyle Kuzma. Jordan Poole. What are we doing? I feel bad for Tyus Jones.
Me too.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the one person I feel bad for.
He's an adult.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to deal with that mess around him. Could you imagine going to work every day, being a professional, being a pro's pro like Tyus Jones? Could you imagine that?
Mm-hmm.
Money changed people. It's sad, but it's true. Like people say, money is the root of all evil and stupidity. Damian Hernandez is dropping some dimes tonight.
Yeah.
It's fact. What he's saying is factual. Money changed people. Jordan Poole was changed the moment he signed that contract. He was no longer
afraid to let people know it.
He was no longer that kid from Michigan that hit that shot.
And now he's trying to holler at every Instagram model and all that, and it's just like, bro.
Focus on what you need to focus on. Basketball, not Instagram models. Like, Lord. All right.
Jordan. Washington ownership needs to give the coach the power to sit him down. We know he'll never get away with it because the minute he does it, they'll say, oh, what's this coach going to do? He'll probably get fired for it. But at this point, The coach
He's out
probably will
of
get fired
control
anyway.
with how
I
he's
would do
playing.
it. I would sit Jordan Poole and have him just sit on the end of the bench and not even care about it.
Because what type of defense do he play? Is
None.
that even existent? Do we do that? No.
Nope.
Just run up and down the court and shoot the ball. Do whatever you want to do and look at girls.
Yes.
Jory, I apologize for the statement I'm about to tell you, but this is a long-told statement. It's a statement that was told many, many moons ago. My father passed it down to me, and I will pass it down to my child. You can lose money chasing women, but you will never lose women chasing money.
And that's an absolute fact.
If I'm a professional basketball player, I'm chasing greatness. How many IG models you think Kobe Bryant was running around with? How about LeBron?
I know he at least got a few.
I don't think he's running around with many at all.
Not anymore, but he has one.
Put it to you this way. The greats don't chase women. Women chase them. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I knew, listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. I knew Chris Humphries was never going to be a good player ever after he started dating a Kardashian.
Don't they
I'm
all?
just saying.
Yeah.
Lamar Odom's career was over.
Ben
Dating a
Simmons.
Kardashian. Kanye ain't have a diamond record since. Dating a Kardashian. Say what you want. Jordan Poole is a problem. On to our last topic of the evening. We might wrap up early. Eagles Chiefs tonight. We can get a little prediction action in here.
Yeah.
There's a situation happening with Stephon Diggs in Buffalo, Jordan Poole in Washington. And we have a lot of these conversations that go back and forth. Now, what percentage of a player do you think should be about the win and should be about winning and the team? And what percentage of a player do you think should be about business, being about their money, cashing a check, and setting their family up for life?
I
Now,
think.
this question comes from you strictly from different circumstances to go around the league. I've always been of the inclination to be the best possible teammate, be the most valuable locker room guy, and the money will come. The business will come. They will want you so badly. But even Derek Jeter, even the great Derek Jeter, got into a huge contract dispute with the New York Yankees, 2016, right before his last contract. So what percentage of you should be a businessman, and what percentage of you should be the best team player you could be? Jory, I'll start with you.
I'm going to give 60, 40, 60% team player, 40% business player. Because if you're a team player, that business part, it'll come eventually. It'll fall in line. That's the way I look at it. When you have people like Stephon Diggs, who got his money, by the way, and is acting a fool because of accolades, and he's not getting his touches, or he just don't want to be in damn Buffalo anymore. Whatever the hell the issue is. I'll put in another name that goes with this. James Harden. Because he's not a team player.
He's not a system player.
He's not a team player at all.
He is the system.
He's delusional.
I
He's
agree.
stupid.
You gotta take off the reins, let him run free.
See where that'll get you. But that's why the Clippers are where they are right now. Like even with James Harden, he's not a team player, and as a result of it, on the business end of it, if it don't work out in with the Clippers, where else is he gonna go? As far as with Stephon Diggs and him acting a fool, with him and Josh Allen having all these problems, people needing to mitigate the damn tweets from his brother, and then him coming out saying, I'm not responsible for how people feel, which is a great cover up, but we all know that you said something. His best bet is to stay in Buffalo. But if it don't work in Buffalo, where the hell is he gonna go? Who's
I
going to
just
pick
can't
up
wait.
that?
I just can't wait until you start seeing that real Trevon Diggs in Dallas
Oh,
because
yeah.
he's going to destroy things in Dallas.
Oh, yeah. And I'm
Seen
going to
it
laugh.
earlier. You've seen it earlier in preseason in training camp when him and Dak Prescott got into a fight, and he called Dak a bitch. You remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of these players just don't know how to be team players.
If you can be
Now,
a team player.
think about it this way, real quick, Jory. Think about it this way. Give me one of those players. Let's go Stephon Diggs, James Harden.
Yeah.
Pick one.
James Harden, Stephon Diggs.
James Harden, Stephon Diggs were the best player on their high school team. They were recruited by all these 5-star Division I schools. They were the best player on their college team.
So they're entitled.
They were drafted in the first round. They had their ass kicked anywhere they go. Kissed. And you wonder why they turned out that way.
Yeah, because they've been entitled.
People ask me all the time, Jory, what's the difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron James? And the easiest thing I can tell you is Michael Jordan wasn't the great one before he was the great one. So think of it this way. If Michael Jordan was told he was a king at 16 years old, if Michael Jordan's high school basketball games had more airtime than the Cleveland Cavaliers did at the time, if Michael Jordan was put on King Magazine in a crown on a throne at 18 years old, you don't think he'd be an entitled brat?
Mm-hmm.
I think the difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron James is when you go to these AAU tournaments and you see the kid that was the phenom at 8 years old, at 10 years old, 18 years old, and he runs into the kid that had to work for everything he got. You want to ask me why I think Jordan is the GOAT of basketball? Because he had to grind for everything he got. And I know this is off topic, right? But team players are made from not being the best player on the team. I get to watch. I can't go too far into this because I don't want people to feel some sort of way because I know they listen to the show. But I get to have the privilege to watch some of these kids play sports. I won't say specific sports. And there's two kids. I'll tell a story of two kids. And they're 8 years old. They're not old. They're 10. They're 7. They're 12. And one kid is, I'm going to play both sides of the ball, offense and defense. I'm going to do whatever the team requires me to do. And the other kid is the best player on the field. He's got his ass kicked everywhere. He's the one that's always crying on the sidelines. Oh, mommy said he don't have to play no more. You don't have to play. If you don't want to play, you don't have to play. Sit down. There's a tale of two kids. Think about the tale of Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez, ladies and gentlemen. Who was better?
Jeter.
No. Jeter was not. Who's more talented? Alex Rodriguez or Derek Jeter?
I was joking. I hated Jeter. I always thought Jeter was overrated. All the gold
Alex
gloves and stuff that he
Rodriguez
didn't
was
deserve.
100% the better baseball player than Derek Jeter. But who's the greater player? When you talk about the greatest shortstops of all time, you talk about Alex Rodriguez or Derek Jeter. You can call him overrated all you want, but the guy did what it needed to happen to win baseball games. And guess what? That I would rather be Derek Jeter than Alex Rodriguez 100 days out of 100. And when we're talking about this team player or businessman, give me a 90-10 split. Let me be Nick Foles. I want to be all about the team. Now, I do have to drop my 10% business because you're not going to just take advantage of me.
Exactly.
But I would much rather be the guy that does anything to win.
Because I personally think that people like James Harden and Stephon Diggs need a good five-knuckle sandwich to the face themselves. See, I advocate for violence because that's what they need.
Bro, they're gonna clip that and you're gonna be canceled tomorrow.
I
Someone's gonna clip that little spot. I advocate for violence, and your fist's gonna be up, and it's gonna be a problem.
I'm 5'3". I have to.
I'm just kidding with you. Kyle, what's your thoughts? Break your numbers down for me.
I mean, you said 90-10. In my head, I was thinking 75-25, 80-20 in that area. Because the guy who wants to be the team player, when you look at the totality of their career, they'll have the longer career. They may not make the most money, but they'll be more coveted by winning organizations. The player I root for, like Jeff Green. Jeff Green's a guy who, he came out of Georgetown, not really a, flashy school. Like the man had heart surgery, could have called it a career. Decided to come back, and if you look at him, he's a guy who kind of bounces around a little bit, but he knows his role. He plays his role really well. He finally got his ring with the Nuggets last year. And kind of what we talked about earlier, Houston went and got him for what reason? To mentor their younger players, because Houston had issues with too many young players on the team, which led to immaturity. So they had to get some of them out, bring in veterans. And when they brought Jeff Green in, I thought it was a great move. Dylan Brooks was a part of that as well. Dylan Brooks is kind of on the younger side, but he's still been around at least. The guy who thinks they have it all, they may get that one big contract. But a lot of them may struggle to get a second one because teams in the league find out that they're not really about the work. Mike Vick was somebody who, big celebrity, everybody loved him. And he had that interview where he said, Jim Moore would give him game tape. He wouldn't watch it. Jim Moore could have stuck $1 million in tape. He would have never seen it. And when I heard that, it kind of let you know Mike Vick was at Virginia Tech. He just beat people with downright athleticism. If he got into trouble, he could outrun everybody, and it was fine at Virginia Tech. What happened when he got to Atlanta? He could win you games here or there, but when it got into the nitty-gritty in the playoffs, he would struggle. And players like that, look, they're fan favorites, but they're not the ones that really influence winning. It's the guys who put in the work in practice, the ones who are willing to dive on the floor and get dirty. They're the ones that really influence winning on that kind of level. So guys like that are the ones that I always like navigate towards. And the big flashy players are the ones I'm just like, I just never buy in. Because, Damien brought up one, Caleb Williams. I feel like he's a guy that
He's annoying.
I do worry about a little bit when he gets to the NFL. I don't know if he's going to have a good transition.
He got my type of temperament. Cry over everything.
So think of it this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many contracts, how much money you think Udonis Haslam's made for the Miami Heat by just sitting on the bench and being a locker room guy? I want you to think. I'm going to give you. You're going to laugh at me, right? You're going to find out how serious of a winning person I am. My favorite Phillies or favorite Philadelphia players of all time were Eric Allen, Bobby Taylor, Shane Victorino, Eric Snow. I've always loved the player that was not the most talented player, but the guy that Chase Utley that did whatever it takes. Because we can relate to that as fans. That's all we got for tonight. Let's wrap it up. Let's give a score prediction for tonight's game. Let's give a quick wrap up for the show. Jory got the little thumbs up bubble.
I don't know how I did that either, but okay.
Jory, what do you how do you like tonight's game to go?
I like Philly winning by at least by a touchdown.
Okay.
I don't trust Kansas City's anything other than Travis Kelce. it's a bag of chips. Even though Kansas City has a pretty good defense, their run defense isn't that good either. But I'll take Philly by a touchdown, to say the least.
Andy Reid's 21-3 off the bye. Coming off a bye. Who you
I'm
like
tired
tonight,
of the
Kyle?
Chiefs.
Who you like tonight, Kyle?
I like the Eagles as well. You know, both teams have had their issues, but I feel like I trust Philly's roster, the totality of it, more than Kansas City. You know, Philly has their issues down the middle, the defense, whatever. That's kind of been documented throughout the season. But I just worry that if Kansas City gets into a long third down and Kelsey is not open, where does Mahomes go with the ball? Who does he trust? You can tell me Sky Moore or was it Rashae Rice?
Just kidding. Rashae Rice.
He could have a good game. He could have a decent game, but
Rice, I feel like is coming on, but Mahomes still wants to go to Kelsey because that's who that's the only person he really trusts when he drops back.
And Taylor Swift is not going to be there, so Eagles by 7.
I love it. I got the Eagles tonight too, but I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if you see the Eagles lose this game by 1 or 2 points, just based off the money. Question: what's y'all thoughts on Rex Ryan comments about Staley should get fired and go back to coaching Division 3?
That was hilarious.
Oh, you're
that
talking about
was
Brandon
hilarious.
Staley. I didn't know if he was talking about Dawn Staley, and I was.
Oh,
he was talking about Brandon Staley.
I was just trying to.
Hilarious.
I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go see it. If
he
you
said
didn't
his
know,
wife could coach better than that.
If you didn't know, and you probably didn't if you're listening, but I just recently lost my grandfather over the weekend. He passed away on Sunday. 91 years old. Lost a long battle. But he didn't lose. He won. He played his game out fully. He had the fourth quarter. He definitely hit the buzzer beater. And he had a great life. And I just, I didn't get a chance to catch up on all my sports. I did watch a lot of football, but I love you, Grandpa. I hope I'm making you proud. Appreciate you. Hopefully the Eagles will pull one out for you this week, even though he's a 49ers fan, but he's going to root for the Eagles for me. My grandfather was a Joe Montana, and Ted Williams guy. Just who he was. But he's a Boston Red Sox fan and a 49ers fan. Just who he is. But appreciate y'all for tuning in this week to Cheap Seats Podcast. We will be back again next week on Cyber Monday. Hopefully getting you some deals. Jory's going to have our special deals that are on the internet. I'm kidding y'all. But I appreciate y'all tuning into Cheap Seats Podcast. Jory from Jory Sports Stories, the Prince of Production, Kyle Edwards, and I'm the NFL Genius, Wire to Wire Gene. And we are signing